At the time when you're filming these, Skylar, did you know they would become like cult classics?
The only person that knew at the time that the Pitch Perfect movies would be what they've become was Rebel Wilson, honestly.
Really?
Are you serious?
Everybody
Really?
else, yeah, everybody else. Personally, I could speak to my story. I loved it. It was totally my speed. I got all the jokes.
Yeah.
Like, I went to a college where there was an a cappella group. I was aware of that faux confidence that they have that actually really does work.
Right.
And so I was in on the joke, but I just didn't know. I just didn't know if other people, but it was too niche. It's like people, are they like, because it didn't have as much curb appeal. I can't even tell you how many people, generally men, will come up to me and be like, dude, I didn't want to see it. I thought it was going to be lame. My wife or my daughter or whatever female brought me to it. And now I watch it every time it's on HBO. Like, I can't get enough of it. And even though that story's become a little like unoriginal to me, because I'm like, I know the spiel you're going to go into, but I think the reason is because it was comedy first. And it like I said, it was in on the joke itself.
Yes.
Didn't take itself too seriously, which was like a great message too for people not to take themselves too seriously. And I think it just hit this like joy note with so many people. And so I knew that, but you never know when you're filming something what it's going to turn out to be. And Rebel though was like, Skylar, you have no idea. You're going to like, she's like, you're going to be a big, massive star. Like, you're going to be a heartthrob. Like, and I was like, heartthrob? Okay. And like, now it's like, it's hard for me to get jobs where I'm not like the leading, like love interest. I mean, I do, but you know what I mean? Like, it's become something that I'm known for.
It works, man.
It's
you do it well.
A lot worse things to be known for sure. Right. Exactly.
There was a big fan of the movie publicly in Kobe Bryant. Did you know how big of a fan Kobe's a big fan of Shawn, but for different reasons. His basketball skills.
Yeah, right. Whatever. We'll talk about that.
My
later.
Kobe story also has to do with Rebel. I went to courtside back when it was Staples Center, and we went to see the Lakers play. She asked me, she's like, I got courtside seats. At that point, I've never sat courtside for anything. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And we had one cool Mamba moment where he was warming up and he was in full Mamba mode, the underbite and everything. And and he just snapped out of it in one quick second and lit up and walked beeline right towards me in Rebel. And at the time, I'm trying to move out of the way because I'm like, well, surely this is for someone he knows that's behind me. But he very quickly, without making sure nobody saw, was like, hey, I'm just such a big fan of the movie. I love it. My daughter and I watch it. And I was like, it happened so fast that I wasn't, and then it was gone and switched right back into like serious killer mode. And so I didn't even get to even fully respond. I was just fully in shock that like Kobe Bryant, who knew who I was. And yes, since everything that's happened, there's been a lot of old interviews that have resurfaced. And I remember Dwight Howard gave a press conference talking about one time he walked in on Kobe Bryant watching Pitch Perfect and was like, man, this is my favorite movie. So pretty cool.
Well, that's honestly, that's part of the premise of this podcast. A lot of people don't understand how music correlates with so many different walks of life. Like, it's not just the musicians, but basketball players, politicians, whoever. Like, we all listen to music for whatever reason, and we enjoy it in our private time. Some which, like Kobe, you'd be surprised that he would love something like Pitch Perfect, because from a, I guess you could say, an image standpoint, you wouldn't think that.
Right? Shawn, you knew Kobe. Why do you think he liked it so much? What do you think about Kobe? Like Philly, you guys got the Philly connection too.
Yeah, I think it's because it was just good. And when you're as fierce a competitor as Kobe Bryant, music soothes that savage beast inside of them.
In Pitch Perfect, the first film, you guys pulled from an iconic 80s film, Breakfast Club.
Yes.
It was kind of like this underlying theme throughout the movie, kind of ends even with Anna Kendrick kind of having that moment on stage, ending with
Don't You Forget About It.
Don't You Forget, right?
Great song.
How did that come about? Like, was that your thing? Was it the producer's thing?
You know what?
Like,
it was actually originally in the first, gosh, so many things went right with that movie that I'm like, I wonder if it always stayed, the movie Say Anything with John Cusack?
Yeah.
So my initial, holding the boombox over the head, that was
these days a bump box.
Right.
There you go. Shout out bump box.
Shameless plug.
But it is so true though that like I think there was a moment instead of the iconic Judd Nelson hand up, it was like the boombox moment. And who knows if that would have translated? Who knows if it would have taken on that kind of life of its own? That movie was really lightning in a bottle. But yeah, that was one of those movies. A lot about that movie was very organic. Like a lot of Rebel Wilson and Adam Devine's characters kind of came out of, well, we got these genius comedians here.
Right.
We're so good at improv. Like, I think we filmed everyone in this scene a little bit ahead of time. You want to stick a camera on the two of them and see what happens. And from that, we got this whole B storyline of them having this like sexual tension that in the second movie, I think they like kind of paid off.
Right.
Yeah.
Quite well. And so like so many little things like that. Like I had parents that were supposed to be at one time like Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler. Like that was the dream, to get those kinds of level comedians to give the movie a little bit more star power and give me parents and give more to my character. And it ended up getting cut for like a bunch of reasons, time and schedule and everything. But like the contents of that scene, I've actually told this before, the contents of that scene is like, imagine Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler and me in the backseat, and they're dropping me off at college, and all they're worried about is like, we just don't want it to happen again. And they keep talking about this thing that happens. And like, so my character, Jesse, who's now become this like sweetheart boy next door, on the page was like this guy who, yeah, maybe was sweetheart boy next door, but a little quirky and like gets random boners.
Oh God.
And I don't know if the movie would have been as winning or successful or slightly off balanced with that storyline, because you had so many fun, larger than life characters.
So you're saying you should have gotten random boners throughout Pitch Perfect 1?
If you look closely, you could see how many. No, I'm kidding. I didn't get any right away. No, but the ending of the
don't
first,
rewind it, kids.
The ending of the first, yeah, don't zoom too hard.
That might be good for some royalties. You're gonna get a lot of views right now.
Please. But the end of the movie was supposed to be the big kiss, and then the punchline of it was supposed to be like, and we have liftoff from Elizabeth Banks and John Michael Higgins' role, the announcers. So like, that was supposed to be like, oh, he got a boner, LOL, end of movie. Like, as if that would have made for a franchise. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if that would have stayed.
Well, who would have known that in American Pie, like one of the biggest
that's true.
moments was the pie.
The pie.
So maybe
it's the whole
maybe
Pitch
Perfect. Maybe we would have gotten a Pitch Perfect 4 if I would have kept that storyline.
You never know. They're probably in the writing room right now, thanks to us.
They're like, oh right, the boner thing. Let's put that back in. Let's see if Will and Amy are available.
Right.
Skylar, what was your favorite scene from either one and two? Did you have a favorite moment for yourself, like? Or maybe a fan favorite, maybe they don't know a lot about how that scene came about, that you could give a little behind the scenes too?
The riff off was really well constructed because we like rehearsed it, and we rehearsed the game of it all too. We're like, well, this is a real game. So guys, remember, we had an amazing director, Jason Moore. Big shout out to Jason Moore. He's a theater guy too. So he like understood like, hey, it's when you're not singing, you need to still remain active because this is a competition. Correct. And you need to be listening actively. So like, we really got to really like understand the mechanics of it. And I think that's why it became such an iconic sequence in the film. But my favorite sequence, to me, what kind of like sets the movie off is the initial audition sequence. And we did that. We actually shot that. Everyone had earwigs, and we actually like sang live to a little like,
I wanted to ask that. Did you guys sing? Yeah.
So out of the many like TV musicals or movie musicals I've done, like there have only been isolated incidents where it's been like, okay, everybody, we're really doing this. Everyone has to be quiet. Like we're recording sound. We have like a little bit more expensive mics we're going to wire you with. And so that was a cool experience because it was quite literally like us getting up in front of, you know, Adam Devine and Utkarsh and Brittany Snow and all these people who are playing the leaders of the groups. Yeah. And we're actually kind of singing for the first time.
So when you, I remember that scene. So when you say, "Whoa, that's really high,"
Is
that because it was in your ear?
That was improv. He was like, Jesus so I told him. So I was like, Jesus, it's high. Because one of those things where it's like, this is clearly in Rebel's key or Anna Kendrick's key, or like, but it's funny to hear boys struggle with, do I go down the octave, up the octave? And so I even remember asking Jason and Elizabeth, I was like, what do you want me to do? Because it says like the little bullet points of the montage, right? It's like this person, you can't hear her. This person falls flat in her face. This one's too over the top. Jesse sounds amazing. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, so I'm actually supposed to get this role and kind of be considered a good singer in this moment. What do you want? They're like, just live. Just be, just do, just sing, and whatever comes to mind. I was like, well, what if I'm like, this is high? They're like, say that.
Yeah.
And so I did.
Hey, y'all, and that was on that note. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, here's a couple more videos for you to check out. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.